Welcome back to another episode on Legendary Talk. I'm your host, Legendary. Alright, so let's get into this topic right now. I know you guys been waiting on a video. Sorry about the delays, but we're out here right now. Alright, so big up. We're gonna say a shout out to new subscribers. I wanna see you guys popping in, dropping your comments and stuff. So really glad that you guys can support, and check in. And I'm always open to advancing your mindset and giving you as much information as I possibly can. So let's get right into it. So today's topic will be the slave trade, right? So the English settlers concerned themselves with growing crops that could easily be sold in England, which is like tobacco, indigo, cocoa, soon gave way to sugar, which became the main crop for the island. The sugar industry grew so rapidly that the 57 sugar estates in the island in 1673 grew nearly to 430 and 17 by 1739. So enslaved Africans filled the large labor force requiring for the industry. The colonists were impressed with the performance and endurance of the Africans, as well as the fact that African labor was cheaper and more promising. They continued to ship Africans to the West Indies to be sold to planters who forced them to work on sugar plantations. The slave trade became a popular and profitable venture for the colonists. In fact, that the transportation of slaves became such a regular affair that the journey from Africa to the West Indies became known as the Middle Passage. The voyage was so named because the journey of the British slaver was three-sided, starting from England with trade goods to Africa, where these were exchanged for slaves. Afterwards, the journey continued to the West Indies, where the slaves were landed on sugar, rum, molasses, and taken aboard for the final leg of the journey back to England. The slaves, however, were unhappy with their status, so they rebelled whenever they could. Many of them were successful in running away from the plantations, joining the Maroons in the almost inaccessible mountains. The slave rebellions stand out in Jamaica's history. For example, the Eastern Rebellion of 1760, led by Tacky, and the Christmas Rebellion in 1831, which began on the Kingston estate in St. James, led by Sam Shaw. He has since been named the national hero. So the Maroons also had several wars against the English. In 1739 and in 1740, after two major Maroon wars, treaties were signed by the British in the Treaty of 1740, which they were given land and rights as free men. In return, they were to stop fighting and help to recapture runaway slaves. This treaty resulted in rift among the Maroons, as they did not agree that they should return runaway slaves to the plantations. The frequent slave rebellions in the Caribbean was one of the factors that led to the abomination of the slave trade and slavery. Other factors included the work of humanitarians who were concerned about the slaves' well-being. Humanitarian groups such as the Quakers' Publicity protested against slavery and the slave trade. They formed an anti-slavery committee which was joined by supporters such as Granville Sharp, James Ramsey, Thomas Clarkson, and later on William Wilberforce. On January 1, 1808, the Abomination Bill was passed. Trading in Africa, slaves were declared to be utterly abolished, prohibited, and declared to be unlawful. Emancipation and the apprenticeship came in full effect in 1834, and full freedom was granted in 1838. The immediate post-slavery days were very difficult for the poorer classes. Though most of the English planters had left the islands and new owners were running the plantations, the old oligarchic system still remained. The will of the masses was not deemed important and hence ignored. To add fuel to the already burning flame, the American Civil War resulted in supplies being cut off from the island. A severe drought was also in and most crops were ruined. In October 1865, an uprising in St. Thomas called the Morant Bay Rebellion was led by Paul Bogle. Bogle and his men stormed the Morant Bay courthouse while it was in session. A number of white people was killed, including Custos of the parish. The rebellion was put down by the governor, Edward John Erie. More than 430 people were executed or shot, hundreds more flogged, and 1,000 dwellings destroyed. Paul Bogle and George William Gordon, now national heroes, were hanged. George Gordon was promoted colored legislator who was sympathetic to the problems of the poor people and was blamed for the trouble caused by the masses. Henry was subsequently recalled to England, but not before exchanging the ancient constitution for the crown colony system. The succeeding years saw the island's recovery and development, social, constitutional, economic, and its evolution into sovereign state. Education, health, and social services were greatly improved. A proper island-wide saving back system was organized. Roads, bridges, and railways became government-owned in 1845, if you didn't know, were built, and cable communication with Europe established in 1859. The island's capital was moved from Spanish Town to Kingston in 1872. The 1930s saw Jamaica heading towards another crisis. The contributing factors were discounted at the slow pace of political advance. For example, the distress caused by the worldwide economic depression, the ruining of the banana industry by the Panama industry disease, falling sugar prices, growing unemployment aggravated by the curtailment of the migration opportunities, and a steeply rising population growth rate. In 1938, things came to a head with widespread violence and rioting. Out of these disturbances came the information for the first labor unions and the formation of the two major political parties. These were the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, that's BITU, I'll put that on screen, named after the founder, Sir Alexander Bustamante. He was also the founder and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP. The political party affiliated with the BITU. Norman Manley was the founder of the National Workers' Union and the political party for the People's National Party. Both Sir Alexander Bustamante and Norman Manley were instrumental in Jamaica's move towards self-government. The first general elections under universal adult suffrage was held in December 1944. In 1958, Jamaica and 10 other Caribbean countries formed the Federation of the West Indies. The concept of Caribbean unity was soon abandoned in 1961 when Jamaicans voted against the Federation of the West Indies. As people, so if you enjoy the content, you can let me know by hitting the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe so you can get more awesome content and expand that knowledge of that legendary brain of yours. Alright, so on August 6, 1962, Jamaica was granted its independence from England. Jamaica now has its own constitution which sets out the laws by which people are governed. The constitution provides for the freedom, equality, justice for all who dwell in the country. The Jamaican Constitution 1962 is the most fundamental legal document in the country, guaranteeing the freedom, rights, and privileges of every Jamaican citizen. The Constitution reflects the country's independence as a national state. and is to this day remains the cornerstone of the island's legal systems and institutions. The Constitution took effect on August 6, 1962, when Jamaica gained political independence from Britain. After more than 300 years of British colonial rule, while being the first constitution for the political independent nation, it was not the first legal framework for the island. Alright guys, so there you have it. Just completed the slave trade. I will be diving into more topics in the upcoming episodes, so stay tuned. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments. I will indeed reply to them, and maybe you get a shout out as well. So until then, be safe guys, and continue doing your best. Remember, knowledge is power.